Once they've killed law enforcement, there is a point of no return, and they know that. When he opens up the door and he's all like, oh, and then he starts backing out because he's scared. That's a bomb officer's equipment. It's designed to be able to take a blast. Escape with a helicopter. Hey everybody, Chris the Cop here. I'm in Gamology Studios. We're going to be doing another episode of Experts React, and today we're looking at Payday 2. Some robbers will go in with a note saying I have a bomb. Some will go into a teller and tell them, I'm just going to kill you if you don't give me what you have in your drawer. And then we do have takeover robberies. Those are far and in between, but they definitely still happen. How many dang security guards are in this bank? I mean, do they have the world's gold inside of it? Because there was, I think right off the bat, they killed 3. Then it got like 100 cops show up and they all start running into the bank all by themselves, which we know that would not happen. We take more of a perimeter, hands-off approach. Negotiators come in, try to establish communication with these people. As soon as a bank robbery is established and now the robbers have taken hostages and they're not coming out, that's going to be immediate SWAT activation. I'm going to receive a phone call from my captain saying, this is the incident we have, mobilize your team, and we're going to mobilize the team. So if we decide we're going to finally enter this bank robbery, the first guys in that stick are going to be there to neutralize the suspects. As we come across civilian, a second team is going to come in and escort those civilians to safety, get them to medics if they need medics. But the primary stick is going to go after the suspects and neutralize the suspects. And then after that, we'll start rescuing hostages. I've been on the SWAT team since 1998. It's only been about 4 or 5 years where we finally had our first hostage rescue. There's a lot going on with it, especially that the hostage was an 8-year-old little boy. Oh, we rescued him. That also led to my first police shooting as well. So trauma on trauma. Once they've killed law enforcement, there is a point of no return, and they know that. Remember, you're willing to do just about anything once you kill a cop. The stakes have just risen to the ultimate stakes. There is no higher that you can go once you've done that. I think the shotgun, he shot like 12 times. I think the most you can do without having a drum is the Benelli shotgun, which I think is 7+1. That part kind of like he just had an unlimited, just laying into officers with the shotgun, but yeah. Watching this first scene makes me think about the North Hollywood bank robbery back in the 1990s where LAPD was outgunned. Now, it was only 2 suspects in full tactical gear, high on painkillers, but their weaponry was phenomenal. They were able to outshoot the LAPD for hours upon hours, to the point that LAPD police officers had to raid a local gun store and borrow guns to fight back the robbers. Once law enforcement figures out they're wearing body armor, everything's going to be a headshot at that point in time. We're not going to even waste our rounds on the body armor because it's not going to penetrate. Going back to the North Hollywood shooting, LAPD during that time was armed with 9mm handguns. It didn't even touch their bulletproof vests. That's why at that point in time you got to start deciding headshots. But an officer trained in AR-15 could have neutralized North Hollywood in the first 10 to 15 minutes once they got out by taking that long shot from a distance away. That's why today officers are getting better training with better weapons.
Not so bad, mother.
No, the whole part of once they go down or once they get arrested, getting them, nah, that's obviously for the video game. That is realistic right there. Armoring up a vehicle to use it in a bank heist. We have seen this in real situations in law enforcement. We had a guy who stole the tank in San Diego. We had a guy who took a tractor and outfitted the tractor, all armor all around, and he terrorized that town for hours. Hence the reason why law enforcement today are armed with bigger guns, such as a .50 caliber designed to take out an engine block. I mean, he's using that Gatling gun, and it's just taking out, half a dozen cops at one time. If we really think about a real automatic weapon, even if they were able to take a semi-automatic weapon and make it an automatic weapon through a modification, it's going to start rising up on you. That barrel is going to rise up on you, and you're not going to be able to take out all those targets that you want to take out. So that's why a lot of people prefer semi-automatic, because I have a lot more control of my weapon. I would actually like to see this in that realism, because I don't think our team would get as far as they're getting with the AI coming at them as in the drones that were coming out there. Especially too, they just had a crap load of bombs discharged at the cops coming in. So that looks like bomb squad stuff. I was like, what? You know, when he opens up the door and he's all like, oh, and then he starts backing out because he's scared. That's a bomb officer's equipment. It's designed to be able to take a blast. It's kind of like that juggernaut coming at you. I think the good guy would have been able to take him out if the bad guy didn't have that Gatling gun. Watching this gameplay, I just thought to myself, it would be more realistic if we could only arm the bad guys with the weapons that would be available in the real life. That would make that a really big challenge. The achievement or the objective is to first do $50,000 worth of damage, and we see them going in, not only doing the smash and grab of the jewelry, but also breaking the windows of the other stores to try to get to that $50,000 mark. Kind of what is realistic about this particular scenario is this is a type of robbery that has been occurring for years now, the smash and grab. I have responded on multiple calls like this where the bad guys pull up, they run inside the jewelry store with baseball bats or other objects to break the glass, and they just start smashing all the display, throw it into bags, jump in the vehicle, and take off. And they normally do these around freeways because then they can jump on the freeway before the first alarm has even gone out. On one particular one that I responded to, we were fortunate enough that our officer picked up the vehicle a couple of blocks away. I went into a high-speed pursuit, and guess what? It actually ended in a mall. What's interesting about that is that this mall had a protocol that they were able to shut down every entrance and exit almost immediately. Hence, we were able to do a perimeter, and we eventually were able to locate 2 of the suspects of the 5 that were in the original robbery. When the officer drops his gun when they come in, you gotta have that in your mind, what you're willing to do if you're ever caught off guard and someone is able to get the drop on you and have a gun in your face. So let me tell you something, if you are a hostage, and hopefully you never will be, don't try to jump on your cell phone to call the police. Don't try to get on your cell phone to call someone and tell them that you love them. You should have taken care of that before you left your house. Put your nose into the ground and do what they say. 9 times out of 10, especially if it's like a bank robbery, a jewelry robbery, they're just there for the property. That's all they want. Don't try to play hero because you could be a dead hero. So we just cooperate 110%. There's actually systems in place today in the world, and I forget what they're called. I think it's called Cop Shot, as a matter of fact. But whatever it's called, it senses when a gun is fired and it's able to triangulate that. That's real technology that is available to cities. So we kind of see that play out in this mall takeover. But in this real situation, if a mall was taken over, this is going to be one of those long, drawn out, probably multiple day event, because we're going to kind of be at the mercy of the bad guys since they have hostages. We're not going to siege that incident unless we have no other choice. Escape with a helicopter. If this was like an action movie where the helicopter's taken away, yes, you're going to see the good guys shooting at the helicopter and it's going to blow up. But we got to also remember, where is that helicopter going to land? Is it going to land on a bus full of school children coming home from the museum? That's why we would not shoot it. Let's just say the bad guys were sophisticated enough to get a helicopter. It has to land someplace. We have lots of helicopters available to us. LA City has helicopters, LA County Sheriff's has helicopters, even my own department has helicopters. Our friendly news catches wind of this. Their helicopters are going to be in the sky playing this all out, so we can use all these tools available to us to track that helicopter. Now, could they still get away? Absolutely. But this level of planning would be very sophisticated. You're talking about a good crew of people who are very tight-lipped, that none of this information would get out, and this is not your common criminal type of crime. I would love if Payday did a co-op where one team could play the cops and the other team could play the robbers, and kind of see what kind of gameplay you would get out of that. I would like to see that part of it. Yeah, I would play it. Would it be up there on my Fab 5? Probably not. And that's because I'm a cop. Yes, that's the only reason why. I like being a good guy in real life as well as in my virtual life. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. You know what that instant bell notification is for. And if you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up. My wife always looks mad at me. I'll go home and say, man, it was a tough day. She's all, really? Sitting in a chair? Was it tough? She told me, you know, you can find sympathy. She goes, in a dictionary, it's between and syphilis. I can't work under these conditions. I'm just teasing with you guys.